Sam, thank you so much for LogiHire for your ongoing sponsorship support of FTA, but in particular, we're really thrilled and very grateful that you're sponsoring the inaugural Australia and New Zealand Shipping and Logistics Conference. So what motivated you, besides wanting to give us ongoing support, which we very much appreciate, what motivated you to get involved in this particular conference?
Yeah, well, thanks, Paul, for having me. And like you said, it is the inaugural FTA Shipping and Logistics Conference, right? And as part of that, we've been supporters of FTA and other events in the past, and how could we pass up the opportunity to come on board, especially as the first one? So we're super excited.
Well, look, I only just thought about it now, but you can take a bit of a credit for that we're actually doing this too. We were at another event, another commercial conference recently, and you just gave me a nudge and go, why don't you do that? How hard can it be? So we're getting into it now, but it was you can take some of the credit for giving us that nudge.
The idea is one thing, but the execution is another, as you guys know. So yeah. I have no doubt it'll be a success.
Okay, so Sam, LogiHire been around now for a couple of years, and again, you've been great supporters of FTA during that time. But where did you come from? We've got to know you and Fiona, very well, and I understand you've recently brought on another team member as well, who we're still to meet, but looking forward to that. But where did you come from, and how did you land in this space?
Yeah. So my background, I've been in the recruitment space now for just over 15 years. Historically, I've been more in the technology domain, and it was really, I would say, during COVID and sort of towards the tail end of that, we started to diversify and started to pivot. And to be quite honest, we kind of stumbled upon logistics and freight forwarding and had no clue really what any of it meant. We saw a bit of an opportunity. We saw an opportunity to kind of take our learnings from the last sort of 12 to 13 years of the technology side, bring something a little bit different, a little bit fresh and unique into, what is quite honestly a bit of an underserved industry, in my opinion, and decided to form LogiHire at the back end of 2023. And, the support from all of our clients and candidates and partners like FTA has been amazing. And we've had a really good run, and we've got lots and lots of ideas. So like you said, we've just brought on board our first official team member recently, which is great, and he's kicking goals. And the plan is to continue to grow and evolve.
So tell us about your team member. Who did you bring on board?
Yeah. So we got young Paddy, as I call him. He's not that young, 29, but Paddy actually came from within the industry. So he came from a large tier 1 freight forwarder, and he's actually come from the operations and account management side, which is interesting. In the recruitment industry, most people tend to just hire people with that experience, and we kind of went the other way and said, look, if someone knows the freight forwarding industry, we can teach them the other part. And he's a great guy. He's starting to kick some goals, so it's been really good.
So with a name like Paddy, is he a born and bred Aussie, or is he an import?
He's certainly not. He's from the mean streets of Dublin. He's been here, I think, about a year and a half or so. So, but yeah, very settled, and loves Sydney and everything it has to offer.
So what are you seeing in the industry? It's a very turbulent time. Geopolitical tensions causing sort of ripples around the world. There's a little bit of uncertainty. We've got the AI wave now that, we're hearing about it for a long time, but it's actually hitting us now. It's starting to have an impact. What are you seeing, first of all, across the industry, and then how does that stand in terms of employment?
Look, fortunately, I can sort of only speak from our perspective, but we've been incredibly busy, essentially since day one. And I think that good talent is really hard to come by in any industry. And I think even more so within logistics and, the freight and transport industry, even double so, right? It's extremely difficult to hire good people. There are still plenty of opportunities out there, and where we're seeing a lot of the growth is actually on the sales and business development side. Some of the operational roles we're seeing being consolidated, whereas in the past you might have an import operator, an export operator. A lot of those are now combining, And I think AI, like you said, has a bit of a part to play where it's streamlining some of the efficiencies that companies can do. And it's also freeing up people's time to actually take on more responsibility. So I think that we'll probably see some of the more compartmentalized roles evolve more into one. So, and that's what we're starting to see at the moment, particularly within the smaller to mid-tier forwarders. You're seeing some of the larger players have had a tough couple of years, redundancies and layoffs and things like that. But at the same time, they're still hiring other roles, right? So I think it just depends on the sort of part that you play within that.
So we're seeing, again, from an FTA perspective, when we've got two major members, the likes of Schenker and DSV, and then there's an acquisition there, my first reaction is, bugger, we've lost a member.
Yeah.
But what we see happens from that, we see startups. So people who maybe missed out as a part of the acquisition, they're starting up. And are you coming across that as well? Are you coming across new entrants into the sector?
Yeah, we are. And I think definitely over the last 12 to 18 months, I've noticed that, where people have kind of had that itch to start their own thing and to go off. And sometimes it takes that gentle nudge, whether that's a redundancy or a restructure or whatever that might be. But I have noticed that particularly in the transport side as well as the freight forwarding side. And a lot of those smaller players that have started recently are doing really well, which tells you there is business out there. It might not be necessarily as easy as it was in 2021 and 2022, but those weren't normal years, as we know.
Yeah. So, Sam, how do you differentiate yourself in this market? There's other recruiters around. Some have been around for quite a while. A lot of businesses can simply go onto things like Seek or just their own social media networks. How do you differentiate yourself, and how do you value add in your role?
Yeah, good question. So I would say, look, one of the differentiators is we are not a high volume recruitment agency. So we're very niche, we're very specialized, and we hire hard to fill roles. So the roles that typically people are not actively applying for on Seek, but they might be open for a conversation, right? And that's where an agency like us will come in, have a conversation. Once we're partnered with a client, is a big part of the job is actually selling the company or selling the opportunity to a candidate. You can't just show up with a job description and say, come for an interview, here's an offer. It just doesn't work like that anymore. So I think a big part of what we do is marketing and branding and visibility. And I was actually just looking at some stats yesterday, and as you know, we're quite active on LinkedIn and socials, and between the team, we're only a team of 3 at the moment, but we have 1.2 million impressions in the last 12 months, and we've reached 500,000 individual members on LinkedIn.
Wow.
And a lot of them are relevant, which I think is huge. And brand visibility keeps us at the top of mind, hopefully, for candidates when they are looking for a job. And likewise, when clients are thinking about hiring, they come to LogiHire and have conversations. We've got plenty of data and reports. And even if we don't work with clients to hire, we can provide salary guides, we can provide market reports. The list goes on, and we're still developing more as we speak.
And look, there's an unsung hero in all of this, besides Fiona, of course. But looking at your social media posts, whenever Leo makes an appearance, it seems to go viral. Tell us a little bit more about Leo.
Yeah, Leo's our Beagleer, so Beagle Cavalier Cross, or human as we like to call him, with his personality. But yeah, he's 12 and a half years old, but still plenty of energy and literally in the office as we speak right now, probably sleeping under Fiona's desk, I would say. But yeah, he's our sort of chief happiness officer, we like to call him. And he tends to appear on our socials, and it is a bit clickbaity, I guess, for me, but whatever drives the engagement, right?
Yep. And it just shows the human side to the business as well, which is, well, it's a dog, but as you said, it's really a bit of a human.
Yes.
But look, it's great that you've been able to such an impact in such a short period of time. I'm glad that FTA has been able to provide a bit of a platform for you to achieve that. But it's credit to both yourself and Fiona and now Paddy that you've got to where you are. Look forward to big things ahead, and look forward to, well, I'm sure we'll catch up in the meantime, but look forward to you meeting all of the members at the conference in August. So again, Sam, thank you very much for your support, and look forward to having you at the conference.
Thank you so much, Paul. Really looking forward to it.